All right, I got another one here. This one is from Acer, and this one is the Acer Swift 14 AI, but it's not running Intel, it's not running Snapdragon, it's running the brand new Strix Point, the Ryzen AI 9 365, and it's got Radeon 880M graphics. And I got to tell you, for the price, what you're getting in terms of single multi-core performance is excellent. It's got great graphics here with the 880M, as we mentioned, from Radeon, and it has a really great overall package. Now, it's not the most exciting laptop. There's no OLED display here, but you do get a matte finish in this IPS display. It is full HD plus. And the fact that it's a matte display, no unnecessary glare or reflection, is amazing. And it's also a very bright display. I'll go into the measurements and everything in the video. And of course, pretty thin bezels here. And the fact that you're getting a matte display with a touchscreen, that's a big win. Now, the keyboard is really good on this. I like the key travel, the tactility. Everything's very comfortable on here as far as the keyboard is concerned. It's got a nice backlight. Now, the touchpad has a little thing that lights up there when you're using the NPU, because this is a Copilot Plus PC. So if you're doing background blur, you're doing the auto framing in the Copilot stuff in the camera, it's been pretty good. That lights up. But the big thing here is this camera is 1440p. It's one of the better cameras I've seen in 2024. This really shocked the hell out of me. It's also an IR camera. So they do a lot of AI stuff and all that stuff here, obviously like everybody else. But the camera itself is really good. And the fact that you're getting a really nice all premium build here. Now, I think it's all metal. I'm pretty sure it's all metal. It feels like metal, and the build construction is much improved, and I really am loving this so far. So when you raise this up here, when you lift the lid here, this gives you a raised typing angle. So not only are you getting a more comfortable typing angle, but you're getting better airflow as it's lifted up off the surface. So really good. I mean, I've been super impressed with this. You're getting a lot of bang for the buck here, and that Ryzen processor, the AI processor, really is fantastic. And we've seen other laptops running the same chipset. Very, very impressive here. So for those that want better performance than Lunar Lake and not have the worries of having to go with Snapdragon and compatibility issues, this is going to run all your x86 apps. This is going to run everything very fast and fluid. The only thing I would say is it doesn't have the high refresh rate. There's no OLED. And it has somewhat of pedestrian design, right? But this is a workhorse, right? You're going to bring this out. You're going to get your work done because the performance is really good and the overall build is really good. So you're getting a lot of features, but you're not paying a premium here like you would, say, in a MacBook and all that stuff. So let's get into why I think this Acer Swift 14 AI is one of the biggest sleepers here of 2024. Don't sleep on it. It may be one you want to check out. Hey everybody, it's Andrew, and this is the Acer Swift 14 AI, brand new for 2024. Coming up. All right, let's see what we get here. And it's in this really nice silver color here, so not too bad. And it's got almost like an iridescent look to it, so pretty good. Pretty nice build. It seems like there's pretty overall good build quality here. So we get some branding, Acer branding there. Pretty good. Let's see if we can do the useless test of the day. We can. So it raises up to give you a raised typing angle. That's pretty good. It also gives you a little bit of airflow from the bottom as well. Now, feels pretty good so far, and I can tell you keys feel actually really good. This is a lot better than I thought. So this is a diving board style touchpad, and I think it has that AI little light up thing there, whatever they call that. So that's going to be pretty interesting. It's a little bit on this glass touchpad. You can see there's that little symbol there. That's going to show you when the AI is working, when the neural processing unit is working, supposedly. So we'll test that out. And overall, it's pretty good. So we have the whole package here. Let's see if we can see if there's any screen flex or anything before we get a measurement of the weight. Not too bad. Everything seems really well made here. So not so bad. And it almost goes back 180 degrees here. So you can see it here. So not quite 100, but almost there, maybe like 170, but very good. So minimal screen wobble. They did a good job here on that. So really nice hinge here. So very good in terms of the construction and build on here so far. All right, let's get a measurement of the weight with just the unit alone. You're looking at 1.366 or 1.365 kilograms, and that is 3 pounds, 0.1 ounces. So just a shade above 3 pounds. So let's put it back into kilograms. And with the power charger and the power cord, it is coming to 1.71 kilograms, and that would be 3 pounds, 12.4 ounces for a total travel weight. Not too bad. Pretty portable. You can definitely take this with you on the go. Okay, let's check out the port selection. On the left side is an HDMI port. Next to that is a USB Type-A port. And then you get two USB Type-C, USB 4.0 ports. So you're going to get 40 gigabits per second. So that's going to allow you to get a lot of that Thunderbolt functionality, connecting to an external GPU, docks, and so forth. So that is what those provide, and that's pretty good. Now, moving over to the right side is your 3.5 millimeter microphone headphone combo jack and a second USB Type-A port. Now, of course, that's USB 3.2, as is the other one. So overall, pretty good port selection. I'd like to see those two USB-C ports split up, one on each side. A little bit of a nitpick on my part. Notably missing, no micro SD card reader. Would have been great on this 14-inch laptop. Now, to get inside this laptop, it's actually easy. There are 10 T5 Torx screws. Remove them, pop off the bottom plate with a guitar pick or pry tool, and you're in. It's pretty easy. Once you do that, you'll notice that 75 watt-hour battery. We'll get into the battery life later on, and spoiler here, it's pretty good. And then, of course, you'll notice the two fans for cooling. We'll get into the thermal performance as well. Now, inside, you'll notice that the SSD is user upgradable. It's an M.2 2280, and the 1 terabyte in my review unit has some very good reads and writes. Fast reads and writes indeed. Certainly fast enough for this laptop. There's no doubt about it. And as far as the RAM, this review unit has 32 gigabytes of RAM. It's LPDDR5X RAM running at the fast 7500 megatransfers per second. It is not upgradable by the user since it is soldered into the motherboard. So just keep that in mind. And it is running in dual channel mode. Now, as far as the Wi-Fi, you're looking at Wi-Fi 7 and a Bluetooth 5.4 combo card. So it's good to see the latest and greatest when it comes to networking and communications here. I've had no issues with either the Bluetooth or the Wi-Fi, both working flawlessly. And it's good to see that combo card is slotted in, not soldered in. So if you need to change it out for whatever reason down the road, you have that option. Okay, let's talk about the display, and it's an interesting choice here. They didn't go with OLED, although they do have variants that do have OLED in this Swift line. But of course, this one is IPS, and it's a multi-touch display, so you can use your finger to navigate the OS, pinch to zoom, all that. Now, the other thing is, of course, it's a matte display, so you don't get a lot of glare and reflection. Now, they claim this display gets to 400 nits in terms of brightness. I actually measured 438 nits, so it's even brighter than what they claim, so that's good. 1920 by 1200. Full HD plus resolution. Now, one thing to note, it is a 60 hertz display. It's not a high refresh rate display like 90 or 120, but that's going to give you better battery life, the fact that it does have 60 hertz, and I think it'll be fine, especially when you're doing productivity work in Microsoft Office and so forth. You'll be fine. The only problem is it's not going to be as great when it comes to gaming and stuff like that, but that's okay. I think for what this is, you're going to get the best battery life and efficiency out of it, and it's a very good IPS display. And I love the fact, like I said, it is a matte display. And before you go off and poo-poo this display for not being OLED, remember, it doesn't have any of the downsides of being OLED, right? So you don't have to deal with any of the screen burn-in issues that you might encounter with an OLED display long-term, and you don't have to deal with PWM or screen flickering. I know a lot of people are sensitive to that, so they're looking for something like this, an IPS display without glare and reflection because it is matte, and the fact that you're also getting touch is an added bonus on top of that. Not something we normally see on a matte display. And watching movies on this in Netflix, Amazon, YouTube, and the like has been very good, although it's not in HDR. If you want to watch HDR, you'll have to connect to a monitor that supports HDR. And of course, this is going to be good for productivity. So it is a 16:10 aspect ratio. You'll see a little bit more on the display. You'll do less scrolling when it comes to web browsing. And my overall takeaway is this is a very good display that gives you good battery life. You're not going to overdo it with this. Not too many pixels to push here, although you're not sacrificing fidelity here. The colors look good. The blacks are deep. Everything looks really good on here. And I love the fact that there's no glare and reflection that you have to contend with, say, with a glossy display. This being matte is a big bonus, in my opinion. And for those that do want an OLED option, according to their press materials, Acer does offer this in 3 variants. One particular one, a 3K OLED option at 90 hertz. So that's pretty interesting. I don't see it here in the US store, but I may be available in other regions. I'll let you know if it becomes available here in North America. So this is the camera on the Acer Swift 14 AI here for 2024.
4. And this is a 1440p video here. So pretty good. What do you think about the video quality? What do you think about the audio quality? Now, one thing, of course, this is an AI PC, so you do have the neural engine here, the background blur, all that stuff. So interesting, on the trackpad, there is a little symbol that lights up when the NPU is activated. So when I put on the background blur, or any of the studio effects and so forth, it does light up, showing that it is doing something. So some kind of indication, I guess, that the NPU is actually doing something. Not much, but it's doing something nonetheless. So again, what do you think about the background blur? I think they do actually pretty good job here in terms of the background blur. So what do you think about the video quality? What do you think about the audio quality? Let me know in the comments section below. Now, one thing that you'll have to note, it is an IR camera, so that means you can log in with face recognition with Windows Hello, so that's always welcome. And as far as this, I think it's pretty good. Again, let me know what you think.
Now, as far as the keyboard is concerned, I actually like it. It has chiclet-style keys, the key travel, the tactility, the overall feedback, pretty good here for typing out a long document, email, and the like. I thought it was pretty comfortable. I had no trouble typing accurately with it, so that's been pretty good. It does have a multi-stage backlight, a white LED backlight, worked pretty well. So if you're going to get work done in a dark room, dimly lit cabin, and airplane, that is doable here. So I like that here, of course. And then the trackpad or the touchpad, whatever you want to call it, it worked well. It's not a haptic touchpad or anything like that. It's a diving board style touchpad that had pretty good responsiveness when it comes to two-finger scrolling and doing all the gestures. Everything worked very well. No complaints in terms of the touchpad. Okay, let's talk performance here, and we're seeing very good single and multi-core performance. This is running the AMD Ryzen AI9 365. We've seen it before on a number of laptops here on the channel. Good single-core 2840, good multi-core 14,588. So you're getting very good overall performance, doing your everyday tasks, Microsoft Office, email, web browsing, all handled very well. You won't have any compatibility issues like you'd get, say, with Snapdragon, because this will play or run all your x86 apps without a hitch. So everything works, everything's compatible, and that's the benefit. Cinebench 2024, single core 113, multi-core 891. So these are excellent results here, as you can see, amongst the leaders of the pack here. So I like what AMD is doing with this Ryzen AI processor. Very strong performance here, so very good in terms of that. Now you can do light 4K video editing because this has the Radeon 8 ADM graphics, and that's been pretty impressive here as well. And if you play with some of the settings, you can get some playable frame rates when it comes to gaming. So that is definitely doable on this. A very capable processor with good integrated graphics here. Overall, very, very good performance here. And when I ran the Time Spy stress test, it got a score of 92%, although not a passing score. It got pretty close to the 97%, so pretty good in terms of thermal throttling, not much detected there. Now, as far as the surface temperatures under heavy load, as you can see, the keyboard never gets overly hot, so where you place your fingers, very comfortable for typing out documents. Even under heavy load or whatever it may be, it stayed relatively cool. Now, on the underside, it can reach about 53, 54 degrees Celsius, which is a little bit noticeable, but that's when you're really pushing it under heavy load. When you're doing normal everyday tasks in the balance mode, it never gets overly hot. So just keep that in mind. But one thing you will notice under heavy load when you're pushing it is the fan noise. It can reach as high as 57, 58 decibels even, which is quite noticeable. But when you're doing everyday tasks, as I mentioned, it remained relatively quiet throughout. So not a big deal, although it's just when you're pushing this, you will notice that fan noise. Okay, let's talk about battery life, and the Acer Swift 14 AI has a 75 watt-hour battery. It did 16 hours and 58 minutes on the PC Mark 10 Modern Office test, which was quite good, especially for this AMD processor, and it also did 19 hours and 22 minutes on the video playback. That's really good, and these are very good battery numbers. 2 hours and 7 minutes in the gaming test, so I would say overall a very good battery life here. As far as real-world mixed usage, you can expect to get all-day battery life, and maybe then some. It just depends on what you're doing. And I love the fact they supply you with a 100-watt power charger in the box. That's better than the standard 65-watt we see with a lot of other laptops. Now, as far as audio is concerned, this has stereo speakers, DTS-X audio on this one. This is, of course, the Acer Swift 14 AI. And then, of course, I have the Asus VivoBook S14 that I have a separate review on. Also very good. Great bargain right now, actually. So check out that video. If I did release it at this time, check it out. But if not, it's coming. This one has also pretty good speakers. This one has Dolby Atmos. This one I don't think has Dolby Atmos, but it does have the DTS-X audio. All right, so let's give them a listen. Now, one thing I will say, I wish the Acer had a little bit more volume to it when you compare it to that. But of course, you let me know what you think in the comment section below. Now, let's give them a listen. Now, when it comes to pricing, you could pick this up at Best Buy. It's at $11.99 right now over at Best Buy. But of course, they always run a lot of sales, so always check the link in the description below for the latest pricing. But if you head on over to Acer.com, I noticed that they do have a SKU for $9.99 and $11.99. The $11.99 has 32 gigabytes of RAM. The $9.99 has a 16. The one that Acer sent over as far as this review unit is the 32 gigabytes of RAM and a terabyte of storage. Again, for those that are interested, I'll leave links for everything in the description below. Okay, let's bring it all home. And there's a lot to like here about this Acer Swift 14 AI here for 2024, especially the processor, the Ryzen AI 9 365 integrated Radeon 880M graphics are a strong contender here in 2024. There's no doubt about it. The bright Full HD Plus matte touch display is pretty unique. You don't normally see that very often as far as a matte display, little glare and reflection with the touch option. I like that. Now, of course, there is a 3K OLED according to their press materials. I didn't see it on the US store, but if that should change, I'll let you know if I find out any information. It's got a comfortable keyboard. It's got an all-day battery life. It's got really good connectivity with the exception of no SD card reader. It's got a really solid all-metal build, and it has a really nice 1440p camera that really surprised the heck out of me. Now, as far as the negatives, it's pretty much par for the course here. RAM is not upgradable in 2024. No haptic touchpad, but at this price point, I'm not going to ding them too hard for that. The fan noise is noticeable under heavy load, although when you're doing everyday tasks, it was not an issue. No SD card reader, as I mentioned. A pretty pedestrian design, although I like that pure silver, which shows the least amount of fingerprints. I actually like the design, but it doesn't have the pizzazz or the flair of some other laptops we've seen on the channel. So no Cerulean or anything like that, but maybe that's a good thing. The durability, of course, should hold up over time with that durable design. But overall, I think Acer did a very good job here in the overall package. It's a nice general purpose, ultra portable, easy to take with you on the go, gives you great battery life, has great display here, and it also has great performance with that AMD Ryzen AI 300 series processor. Overall, a great choice here for 2024.